Like humans, pigs often carry strains of influenza, and the flu virus can pass from pigs to humans and vice versa. Swine flu outbreaks have shut down barns at county and state fairs. As Lindsay Wright reports, that's led to changes in how pigs are kept across the Midwest.
It's 9-year-old Aiden Campbell's first year in 4-H at the Monroe County Fair. He's been raising his pigs to show at the fair since January, but this isn't a new activity for his family.
Oh my gosh, well, just our family, we've been doing it for about 10 years.
Campbell says the process is a learning experience she believes is important for her 5 kids.
It's also how these animals are raised and what it takes to sustain their life and to raise a healthy animal that you put back into society. It feeds us.
But there is a risk associated with not just raising pigs, but being around them in general, swine flu. About 5 years ago, most of Campbell's pigs tested positive for it. And around that same time, in 2012, public health officials were realizing that some forms of swine flu could be passed between humans and pigs.
What really was the big difference is it was the first time in the U.S. that we had people and pigs in the same environment getting the same strain of flu at the same time. And so we knew it was passing back and forth between the people and the pigs.
That year, 138 people with known swine exposure tested positive. This year, the Morgan County Fair had 370 total pigs on the grounds. That's a record, and it's a lot of pigs coming from different places and staying in close quarters. It'd be easy for one sick pig to quickly spread the virus to a lot of animals. That's why it's the perfect place for Dr. Andrew Bowman and his team from Ohio State to do some research. Bowman is an assistant professor with the Department of Veterinary Preventive Medicine.
And so we've used fairs as a place to get pigs from lots of farms in one spot so we can see what strains of flu are out there instead of going farm to farm to farm.
The group began the research project in 2009, traveling to fairs mostly in Ohio, Michigan, and Indiana. They find influenza at about a quarter of the 100 fairs they attend. Right now, they're testing 20 randomly chosen pigs in Morgan County. They take a nasal wipe to the pig's nose, put it in a viral transport, then freeze it for 2 months. And although it's not always an enjoyable activity for the pigs, it all serves a purpose.
We don't want to have any regulatory impact. We're not regulatory in any way, shape, or form. This is all purely research. And so they sit in the freezer so that we don't have any impact on the fair. By the time we know the results, the fair is long over, and then we can use that information to help guide future policies or understand which viruses were there and study how it spreads through pig populations.
And over the years, research has shaped recommended policies for fairs and those raising pigs. Some include getting pigs vaccinated, pigs getting temperature checked upon entry, and limiting time the pigs spend in the barn. According to the State Board of Animal Health, most fairs are using the recommendations in some way. In Morgan County, pigs are kept in the barns for no more than 72 hours.
There's a downside to that because when the public comes, they want to see a full barn. We don't have a full barn right now, but we've got a safe barn.
Although researchers learn more each year, strains of the flu virus come and go in mysterious ways. A fair in Clinton, Ohio, tested positive for swine flu this past July. The state veterinarian ordered the barn to be quarantined and the animals slaughtered.
We had a lot of pork owners who were concerned we would adopt that policy in Indiana, and so we spent a lot of time trying to allay their fears, and that's not the normal protocol that we would follow. That's not something that we expect that we would do based on having flu in a few animals.
Even though the animals wouldn't necessarily be slaughtered, Darer says the pigs would need to be taken out of the barns immediately to reduce the chance of exposure. She says it's important to continue learning more about flu viruses for the sake of fairs, humans, and the animals. And Bowman agrees.
There's constantly diseases in both populations, and they pass back and forth. The question that we really don't have a good handle on is predicting which ones will cross that species barrier, which ones are of a concern to us and which ones aren't. And so as we're learning more, we start to get better predictors of things that we should be concerned of or not.
Campbell says, as someone who cares for pigs, she appreciates the research. She says her family wants their pigs to be healthy.
a risk that you take with anything. I mean, you can have a house animal that would get sick too. It would be the same thing, or your children, you know, you'd take the same precautions. You have them seen by the proper vet or doctor and you get them treated, and for the most part, it's not like it's a diseased animal.
For Indiana News Desk, I'm Lindsay Wright.
And even if a pig does become ill with influenza, the virus is not transmitted through its meat.